A public defender is an attorney employed by the community and responsible for giving legal aid without cost to any person who seeks it and is financially unable to employ private counsel. It is his duty to defend those accused of crime until the issue is decided in a court of law. The first public defender's office in the United States was opened in January 1913. Over the years, other offices were opened. And today, that handful has grown to a network of lawyers cooperating to protect the rights of our clients. Now, the case you're going to see is a most unusual one. I had to defend a man already in prison for another crime. The name of that man was Joel Dickinson, who longed for peace, but whose life had been interwoven with violence. It started in a cleverly planned prison break in which Dickinson seemed to be the ringleader. Among other convicts involved was Woody Romer, a lifer. It was a desperate cry for freedom by desperate men. Joel Dickinson, it seemed the end of his dream of eventual freedom. A short time after the story of the attempted break hit the headlines, Dickinson's wife was in my office. Well, let's face it, Mrs. Dickinson, your husband was involved in a prison break.
Joe wouldn't have done it without a good reason.
Perhaps he had a good reason.
What do you mean?
Well, wanting to get out is reason enough. Now, the papers say that your husband was the ringleader.
I'll never believe that. Something's happening up there. Why would a man whose parole has been approved and has less than 30 days to serve want to break out?
Yes, Mrs. Dickinson. Why would he?
I don't know that. But I do know that my husband isn't the same man he was when he went in. He's changed, Mr. Matthews. We've worked and dreamed these past 2 years of the day of his release so we can be together and live like human beings.
Mrs. Dickinson, why did you come to see me?
Because you're the public defender. And because you tried to help Joe when he was first in trouble.
Yes, and I lost that case. As I remember, your husband wasn't very cooperative.
Joe was guilty of robbery. And he's been serving his term for 2 years. I didn't know that being sent to prison also meant that a man was expelled from the human race.
It doesn't.
And who's going to help my husband if you don't? If this is the wrong office, tell me where I can go to save a man's life.
I guess you've come to the right office after all, Mrs. Dickinson. Won't you sit down, please? Hello, Joel.
Sort of surprised to see you here, Matthews. Last time I saw you, you claimed I wouldn't play ball.
I'll give you another chance. Why did you try to break out?
Why does any guy ever try to break out?
Your wife tells me that you were up for parole. Another 30 days and you could have walked out the gate a free man.
In here, 30 days can seem like forever.
Why don't you tell me the real reason? Even in a jailbreak, there can be extenuating circumstances.
Such as?
Well, for one thing, intimidation.
Who gave you that idea?
Why, no one.
Well, forget it. Nobody made me do anything I didn't want to do. That clear?
To me, maybe. But not to your wife.
What's Ruth got to do with this?
She thinks that you're innocent of wanting to break out. That you must have had a good reason for doing what you did. Have you?
Any more questions you want to go without answers?
Joel, wherever there's a question, there's also an answer. Sometimes it takes a little while to get the two together. When you're ready to play ball, let me know.
match?
Stay away from me, Woody. I don't want any part of you.
How times have changed. Just thought I'd tell you everything's gonna be okay.
Sure. Nothing like a jailbreak to make your record look good.
Who cares about records? We're not gonna be around long enough to read them.
What are you talking about?
I didn't spend 20 years building up an organization just to have a bunch of squares sit on the outside and read about me in prison. Next time, now, be a little more planning, that's all.
Next time, count me out.
You seem to forget you're indispensable to me.
You won't let me forget. If it wasn't for you, I'd have been out of here in 3 weeks.
Are you crazy, man? You don't go out till I go out. I'm in for life and I got a breakout. We're going out together.
Break it up.
It's okay, guard. We're playing a little game. It's called, Who Wants to Be a Hero?
Move on, Woody.
Dickinson, I got a letter the other day. It said your wife's fine. Up till now. Just thought you'd like to know. Who do I look like?
How did you get in here? But why?
Don't you know? No, I don't believe you do. So we'll let that little matter be settled by Woody Romer and your husband. You went to see the public defender today. Why?
He's going to try to help Joe on that prison break charge. Why not?
Woody just doesn't want to have an ambitious lawyer becoming too interested in Joel's actions in prison. Do I make myself clear? Remember, in prison, life is cheap. Good night, my dear.
Mr. Matthews, come in.
Good evening. My name's Matthews.
It's a pleasure, Mr. Matthews.
Agreeable, but not very polite. Who is he?
I never laid eyes on him before. He was sitting there when I came home.
What did he want?
I don't know, he talked in circles. One thing he made clear. He said, Woody Romer doesn't want you to interfere in Joe's case.
Oh, really? Well, they're going to be disappointed because I've already seen your husband.
Did you find out anything that'll help Joe?
No, but I did find out that Joel doesn't intend to help himself.
Oh, no.
No, the only thing I got out of our conference was the feeling that your husband had a very strong reason for doing what he did.
If you mean he wanted to come home badly, I can tell you that he did. Just as I want him to come home. More than I want to live.
And we must try to find out why Joel tried to break out. Are you certain you don't have any reason?
Oh, if I had, why, I'd tell you. Please believe me.
And you're sure you can't identify the man who was here tonight?
Oh, no, I wish I could. I've never seen him before.
I see. Well, I'm going to try to find out who your unwelcome caller was. Good night, Mrs. Dickinson.
Good night.
Had it not been for the man I almost met at Ruth Dickinson's, there would have been nowhere to turn. I went to the one place where I hoped to find out who he was. It was the first break in Joel Dickinson's favor. The name was Al Romer, alias Clark Morgan. He was the brother of the notorious Woody Romer, the man with whom Joel Dickinson had become involved in the robbery and later the prison break.
So I told Mr. Lewis I couldn't possibly sign a lease, that my husband was coming home soon, and we need a bigger apartment, so... Joe, you haven't heard a word I've said.
Remember when you were a kid? How you used to make believe you were somewhere else?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was doing just now. Making believe there was no glass between us. that I was out there holding you in my arms.
Oh, Joe.
Everybody makes believe up here. Take lights out, for instance. It's just the time I used to get home from the shop. I lay in my bunk, and that's what I make believe. Just getting home from the shop.
Maybe Mr. Matthews could help.
What can Matthews do?
If you'll cooperate, he could do a lot. A man came to the house the other night. He had a key to the front door.
Who was it?
He wouldn't tell me, but Matthews found out. It's Woody Romer's brother.
What did he want?
I don't know. Tell me, what is it, Joel? Was he part of Woody's gang? Was he in on the robbery? Why won't you tell me? Tell me, please. What's wrong?
Ruth, you've got to go away.
What is it,
Now
Joel?
listen to me. Take a train, right away. Go somewhere. Change your name. But don't let anyone know where you are.
Why?
I can't explain now. But write me where you are.
Joel.
Ruth, it's our only chance.
Gorgeous, the night was blue. And all I'm waiting for is to be someplace else with you. Does that sound like poetry to you? You're good with words, Dickinson. How about you try to make one up for my doll?
Not now, Derek.
I said now. Nah, I don't like that poem at all. I don't think the doll will either. Fact is, better burn it before it starts to smell. Now look, Cookie, this time I'm invited on the caper and I want to go. And Woody says we don't go without you.
Then you're out of luck.
This time it's a cinch, like we have a set of keys. The whole block's ready to blow. At chow tomorrow night. And we're all going out together.
Yeah, and be mowed down like grass.
That's their lookout. You, Woody, and me will have a special gimmick. We're taking a warden along to run interference for us.
You're both out of your minds.
You can tell us on the way to town.
Derek, I said I'm not going along.
Now, you wouldn't want Woody to give his brother a bad report card on him, would you? Remember, your wife's waiting for you on the outside. Or ain't you worried about keeping your wife alive? We'll talk about it more tonight. We'll talk about it a lot more.
I had a hunch the Romer brothers' interest in the Dickinsons was not social. I decided to get my friend Warden Miller's opinion.
I don't think there's any secret about it, Bart. The Romer brothers are bad onions, and anybody they touch seems to turn bad, too.
No doubt that accounts for Joel being here in the first place. Now, his prior record was good. How is it up here?
Clean as a hound's tooth. He was due out in a few weeks.
Yes, I know. Will, do you think that Woody could have involved Joel in this crash out?
Meaning what?
That somehow or other, I think the Romer brothers are intimidating Joel and his wife, too. That they forced him to take part.
Woody Romer is a lifer and doesn't care what his record looks like. He's boss of the convicts. They do as he says.
Meaning Dickinson?
Woody can use strong-arm tactics, or sometimes he gets a little more subtle. Like blackmail.
Well, that might explain it.
What do you mean?
Why Woody's brother was with Ruth Dickinson the other night.
Or why Dickinson tried to choke Woody during rest period the day after the break? I don't know, Bart. Sounds pretty weird.
They come that way sometimes. You know, in going over the records of the case that sent them both up here, I find that the large sum of money involved was never recovered. Could that be an angle?
I don't know. Prison's a lot like a jungle. It develops its own code of behavior, and no matter how hard we try, we can't seem to change it.
from Woody. You're all set. You're gonna need the parade. Some guys get all the breaks. You're gonna snatch the keeper.
You tell Woody to deal me out.
If you're smart, you'll do what Woody says. Or he can get uncomfortable. Mighty uncomfortable. I've got a spoon here. Woody smuggled it out of the kitchen. And Mac works in the machine shop. With a spoon like that, you could cut your cake and eat it, too.
Who is it?
Bart Matthews. I called you all day. There was no answer.
There were some things I had to do.
Like quit your job? I checked with the restaurant.
I'm taking a little trip.
With 3 suitcases?
Anything wrong in that?
No, I was just afraid that you had decided to do a foolish thing, to run away.
I was, Mr. Matthews.
Did Joel ask you to?
Yes.
You may be ruining his only chance for freedom. I just came from the warden's office. Did you know that the stolen money that sent both Woody and Joel to prison has never been recovered?
I realize that now.
Do you know where it is?
I don't, but I think Joel does.
Then we'd better get over to the prison and see the warden right away. I'd like to see Warden Martin. It's urgent.
State Prison calling all available law enforcement agencies. Jailbreak in progress. Issue tear gas and machine guns to all guards.
You know what to do. I'll tell you what to say.
Santora to Warden. Santora to Warden. All auxiliary police mobilized. Am standing by for further orders.
You'll take orders from me. We're coming out. And the warden's coming with us.
Tell him to open up. Now.
Guard down there. Open the gate. And you policemen fall back. We're
coming out with Warden Martin.
No, Joe, no. Please, Joe, let him go. Don't try to break out. Joe, you'll ruin everything Mr. Matthews has done for you. We're here to talk to the warden about you. Please, Joe, don't throw away everything we've worked so hard for. Please, Joe.
Tell him to open up. Now, we're coming out.
Warden to all guards and police. I'm in no danger. Continue with your duties. Warden to all guards and police. I'm in no danger. Continue with your duties.
Thank you. Mrs. Dickinson, the doctor says your husband's all right. I'm having him brought up here. Fortunately, the blade struck one of the ribs. Otherwise, it might have been a different story.
It's possible he saved your life too, Warden.
Quite possible.
Then why not save his?
How do you mean?
By recommending him for immediate parole. You know his life won't be worth a plug nickel here after what happened tonight.
I'm afraid you're right. He'd be much safer on the outside. Come in. Dickinson, Mr. Matthews suggests that I recommend you for immediate parole for your own protection.
And I don't think he'll step out of line again. Because if he breaks his parole in any way, he'll be right back here with Woody Romer.
I'll take immediate steps in the matter. Meanwhile, confine him to solitary for his own good.
Thank you.
Oh, Joel, one more thing. The money that you and Woody were accused of stealing, do you know where it is?
Yes, sir.
Well, certainly you want to see it restored to the rightful owners, don't you?
I'd been planning on doing that for a long time. Could you make it part of the parole terms?
Woody Romer hasn't engineered any jailbreak since then. And his brother, alias Clark Morgan, has been sent up to the big house to keep Woody company. As for Joel, he received his parole and has assumed his place as a useful member of society. The case you have just seen was brought to a fair and just conclusion through the efforts of a public defender.